Hello everyone, welcome to the Morph menu tutorial. So when you open up your game, you'll have something like this. And installing this system is much simpler than my other systems. All you have to do is go into this installer script, and then we're going to copy and paste. So copy it all and paste it into the command bar at the bottom of your screen. Click enter, and everything will be installed there. And then you just have to click your installer script, and then we're going to delete it. If you get any errors here, ignore them. We can just clear them out. So now that we have the system installed, let's just hop in and test it, see what happens. So for me, the system looks like this, but for you, when it says Lettuce Army, it will probably say no access, and that's because the Lettuce Army team is group restricted. So let's talk about how we can fix that issue. So up here in replicated storage, we have this Morphs folder. And if we open this up, we'll see that we have two teams, Civilians and Lettuce Army. Now, Lettuce Army has this attribute called Group ID. And when your team has this Group ID attribute, it will lock that team to the group. So change this Group ID attribute to your group. So you just click here and then type in whatever numbers your group is. Copy and paste it from the website. And then that will work for you. If you also want to update the logo image, what you can do is upload the image as a decal and then find it in your inventory. And then when you have it in your inventory, you can place it on a brick. And then in the workspace, you can grab this texture ID here. So you want to copy the entire thing, and then when you come back up to your logo image, you'll want to paste it in there, and then that will update the logo on your UI. For the Civilians team, we do not want to we don't want to group restrict it. So we've removed the Group ID attribute, and you can do that as well by clicking this settings icon and clicking delete, and then that will remove the group restriction. If you ever want to add it back, you click add attribute, make sure type is number, and then you can name it Group ID, and then you can put in your Group ID here. We will remove that for now. All right, so let's talk about divisions. So the divisions will go inside your team. So this is the division development team, and same idea here with the group restriction, Group ID attribute. Same thing here with the logo image, same principle. And here we also have an overhead color attribute for the overhead UI. It will determine the color of the division name. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Your morphs will go inside your division. So here we have two morphs. One is a developer morph and one is an own character morph. Now, if you want your characters to spawn in as their own Roblox avatar, make sure that you name the morph own character, or else it won't recognize it. If you ever want to add a rank restriction to your morph, click add attribute, change it to number, and then type in rank, and then you can put your rank number here. So this would make it so everybody has to be a rank 10 or above to use the own character morph. Now, if you take away the rank attribute by clicking delete, then anybody can use that morph. So let's take a look at how the morphs are laid out. So we have a shirt and pants. You don't need them, but if you have them, they'll be applied to your character. And then we also have these armor parts. So in order to have your armor actually go on your character, you have to make sure that your armor has a part named middle, and that will be the position of where the armor should be on that body part. And the name of the model has to be the exact same name as the actual body part. So if you want it to be on the left upper arm, for example, you have to name the armor left upper arm. If you're using an R6 system, you'll have to make sure this is named left arm, right leg, that type of thing. So as long as the body part is named the same, it will all work perfectly smoothly. Some armors, we want the head to be hidden, for example, or maybe an arm to be hidden based on what the morph looks like. So we have this attribute on our morph armor pieces called hide body part. Now when that's checked, the body part on the actual character will be hidden. If it's unchecked, it won't be hidden. So if you had a head body part or a head armor part that was just hair, but you want the players to still have their default Roblox head, you want to make sure that that's unchecked so that their head still shows up. But with like a normal sci-fi soldier helmet, you'd probably want to keep that checked so that the head doesn't clip through. And if you don't have that on yours, same thing, you can add attribute and then change it to Boolean and then type in hide body part and then click add. Now I've already created it, so it won't let me, but yeah, so that's how you do that. So let's talk about the overhead UI a little bit. So here is the overhead UI element inside replicated storage. If you want to edit the way it looks, you can do that here. If you want to disable the overhead UI, you'll have to disable the extension for it. So let's talk about extensions a little bit. So in server script service, morph menu, open up the script, we have this extensions folder. And then here we have the overhead rank UI extension. If you want to disable it, you have two options. One, you can just delete the module from the game. It won't break anything. Or you can just go into it and then make disabled true, and it will disable it for you. I recommend doing it this way so that if you ever want to easily go back to it, you can just change it back to false, and then it will work again. But I mean, it's up to you, I guess. So we have other extensions here. One gives players tools. So if you want to give players tools in their morphs, you have to add a folder inside the morph named tools. And inside that folder, you have to add the tools there. And that will give the player the tools when they spawn. But if you don't want to do that, you can just come in here and once again change disable to true. And then that will disable that. These extensions here remove packages, animations, and set the character scale to be normal. Of course, you can disable them if you want, but I think most people will probably want to keep those ones in. Now, if you're a developer and want to make your own extension, so you have to create a module, and then there are certain function names that the system looks for. So character loaded is one of them. Before morph character, so before the character's morph is actually applied. And then this one here is morph character, so this happens after the character has been given their morph. We also have extensions in morph menu, shared extensions. So this is where we have the rank and group restrictions. Here we can name them can join team and can wear morph. Now these extension function names can be used in the server extension as well. It will still work there. That's just showing you some of the names that we have. If you want to do a client-sided extension, just for the UI purpose, we have extensions down here. So this extension is for the preview of the character. Now this morph character is called when the character changes their morph in the UI. So that's how we update the preview character here. So that's it for that. So let's talk about the system a bit more in the game. So your teams will all show up here. If you click civilian, because there is no divisions in a civilian team, it will just automatically spawn us. So that's what it did here. Now we can change our morph by clicking this change morph button. And then we can click lettuce army, choose any division, I guess. And so we have these two morphs here. One is our free model developer morph, and then we have our own character morph. Let's spawn in as developer. So you see here we have our overhead UI, and we have our division and rank in the division. Now if we were to die playing the game, we got shot and died, we will respawn in our previously worn morph. So you don't have to go through the morph UI every single time. But if you wanted to, of course, you can just change a morph. We'll go to own character this time. And you'll notice that once we spawn in on the division team, when we click change morph, we come back to the select morph screen, but we can still go back to change our team if we want to. Now inside the morph UI here, we have this other folder called assets. Now this one's kind of important. We have these two parts here called preview camera and start camera. You want to move these parts to where you want the camera to actually be looking when they're just starting the game and when they're editing their character. So to do that, we can just drag them both to workspace. So this one here, we have the start camera. So if we move this, we can move that around however we want. Same with the preview camera, move it wherever we want. And then we can also move those. And then once you position them where you want them to be, move them back to assets. Now, same thing, you want to position these preview characters where you want them in the scene. So we have an R6 and R15 one. So you want to make sure that they're both in the same spot. So you'll just want to, I guess, drag them together. Now you'll want your preview camera to be facing the direction of your preview character. So you can do that by clicking, right-click your preview camera and then click Show Indicator or Show Orientation Indicator. So we want this front part to be facing our character and the green arrow pointing up. And then we can position it maybe here. And then we can drag these all back to the assets folder. So now when we play the game, we'll see our updates. So now we're really close to the ground because that's where we position the part. And now we'd have to edit our preview camera here because we're too close, in my opinion anyways. But yeah, it shows you how it works. If you have any suggestions or find any bugs with the system, please let me know. Other than that, I hope you enjoy.